First story. My older, bad luck daughter saved up money to buy shoes, so I demanded she give it to my younger daughter for her birthday. She sulked and refused, so I took away her PS5, and then her money as punishment, and then sold the PS5. Now my family is ruined, and I'm regretting my actions. I 43F have two daughters, Rachel 16 and Chloe 12. I'll be honest up front, we're not a wealthy family. My husband 45 and I both work, but with bills, groceries, school fees, and everything else that comes with raising two kids, we don't have a lot of spare money for luxuries. Rachel has always been very quiet and self-contained. She keeps to herself, doesn't ask for much, and prefers spending time in her room. She's not a problem kid, but she can be emotionally distant. And when she doesn't get her way, she's very passive-aggressive. Chloe, on the other hand, is bubbly, social, expressive, and more open about her wants. She's also more sensitive, and as a younger sibling, I think she's grown up watching Rachel get things first: phones, sleepovers, freedom, and has always had to wait. Earlier this year, for Rachel's 16th birthday, we got her a PS5. That was her one and only wish for a long time. She talked about it for over a year. We made it very clear to her that it was a big gift. We weren't going to be able to afford much else in the coming months if we got it. But she was set on it. She doesn't go out much and doesn't spend money on makeup or clothes or trips, so we justified the purchase. Now here's where things get sticky. Chloe actually helped us buy that PS5. Not because we asked, she offered. She had about $60 saved from doing extra chores for neighbors and her grandma. She saw how tight our finances were and said she wanted to help make her sister's birthday special. We thought that was incredibly sweet of her, and we thanked her a lot. Fast forward to now. Chloe's birthday is coming up. She's been asking for a new laptop, nothing crazy, just a mid-range $600 device. She's been using my old one from 2015 that barely holds a charge. At first, we said no. We don't have that kind of money sitting around. But then we started to feel like maybe we weren't being fair. Rachel got a $500+ gaming console just a few months ago. How could we turn around and tell Chloe she was asking for too much? I even considered taking on a part-time job on weekends just to make it happen. But my husband had a smarter idea. He remembered that Rachel had been saving up for a new pair of sneakers. She wanted some limited edition shoes that were expensive. She mentioned she had about $150 saved up. So he said, why not ask Rachel to contribute? Chloe helped with the PS5. It's only fair. At first, I didn't love the idea. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Chloe put in money for Rachel's gift, and now Chloe wants something of her own. Why shouldn't Rachel be willing to help out too? We weren't even asking for all of it, just $100. She could still keep $50 for shoes or whatever. So I sat Rachel down and asked. I tried to approach it calmly. I said something like, you know how Chloe helped with your birthday gift? Well, now she wants a laptop, and things are tight. And I know you've been saving up for those shoes, but it would mean a lot if you could chip in $100 to help us out. You'll still have $50, and we can maybe make up the rest later. She looked at me like I had slapped her. She didn't say anything for a full minute, then just said, no, that's my money. I was kind of shocked. I reminded her that Chloe gave up her savings for Rachel's gift. She said, I didn't ask her to. That was her choice. That really upset me. It felt cold. I know Rachel is more withdrawn, but this wasn't just about money, it was about being fair to her sister. I told her to think about it and left it there. A couple of days passed. No follow-up. So I brought it up again, and this time she flat out said, I'm not giving Chloe my money just because you guys can't budget. That's when I lost it. I told her she was being selfish, that Chloe had made a sacrifice for her, and she was acting like a spoiled brat. She started yelling back that it wasn't her job to parent her sister or pay for her birthday. She said, just because you favor Chloe doesn't mean I have to. I do not favor Chloe. I love both my daughters equally. But Chloe is younger, and yes, she needs more from us right now. That's not favoritism. That's parenting. Things got worse when Rachel started locking her room and not coming down for dinner. She was obviously sulking. I gave her space for a bit, but after a week, I told my husband I was done with the attitude. If she wasn't going to help her sister, why should she get to keep enjoying her expensive toy? So I went into her room, took the PS5 off her desk, and told her she could have it back when she started acting less selfish. Rachel started crying, yelling, and screaming at me to get out of her room. She was shaking, and I could tell she was trying to hold back from saying something worse. She just kept repeating, that's mine. You can't do that. I reminded her that I was the one who bought the PS5 in the first place. It was a gift, yes, but we paid for it. Chloe helped. Rachel had contributed nothing. So no, I didn't feel guilty taking it back, especially when she was being this heartless towards her sister. She called me heartless right to my face. Said I cared more about Chloe than I ever had about her. Claimed I was stealing from her. Said I always take Chloe's side. That I'd never make Chloe give up money for anyone else. I stood there while she cried into her pillow like a child, and I didn't feel sorry for her. I was mad. All I saw was a 16-year-old who had completely lost touch with empathy. Chloe gave up her savings for Rachel's birthday without hesitation. But when the roles reversed, Rachel acted like we were trying to rob her. My husband came home and backed me up. He said Rachel needed to learn what fairness actually means. That she was acting spoiled and selfish. That this behavior had been building for a while. He took the PS5 and locked it in our closet. Over the next few days, things got cold in the house. Rachel barely spoke. She came home from school and went straight to her room. She avoided dinner. She didn't look at us. At one point, she even blocked me on her Instagram. I only found out because Chloe was confused why she couldn't tag Rachel in a post and showed me. Chloe, of course, was upset too. She blamed herself. She kept saying, "I didn't want to cause this. I just wanted a laptop." That made me feel awful. She didn't do anything wrong. She's just a kid who asked for something reasonable on her birthday. Rachel's the one who escalated everything. To be clear, I didn't plan to sell the PS5. At first, I just wanted to take it away as a consequence. But then I started thinking, we do need the money. And Chloe's birthday is in less than 2 weeks. Even if Rachel changed her mind now, would I even trust her to follow through? She's shown zero remorse. And the more I look at the PS5 just sitting in the closet, the more it feels like wasted potential. Selling it would basically cover the laptop cost completely. It feels like the logical solution at this point. Some of my friends think I went too far. I mentioned what happened in a group chat, and one of them, a woman I've known for over a decade, told me she was surprised I would punish Rachel for setting a boundary. That rubbed me the wrong way. What boundary? Refusing to be part of a fair arrangement. Letting her sister take the fall after helping her? Another friend stayed neutral, but asked if we would have ever asked Chloe to give up $100 for Rachel. I didn't answer at the time, but it's been bugging me. Honestly, I don't know. Probably not. But that's because Chloe wouldn't react like this. She wouldn't make it a whole drama. She's more giving, more compassionate. That's just her nature. Rachel has always been more detached. She hoards things. Money, time, attention. She doesn't like sharing, unless she feels like she's getting something out of it. When she was younger, she used to hide snacks in her room and lie about it. It's always been this pattern of putting herself first and assuming everyone else is out to take from her. I don't know if that's a teenage phase or just who she is, but I'm tired of walking on eggshells with her. She's 16. She's old enough to know what it means to sacrifice for someone else, especially her own sister. My husband and I had a long talk last night. We're both frustrated. We feel like we're constantly trying to hold things together: bills, school, meals, and Rachel's just off in her own world, giving nothing back. Meanwhile, Chloe is still trying to stay cheerful and make peace between everyone. She's 12. This isn't her burden, but she's still trying to carry it. We've decided that if Rachel doesn't apologize and offer some compromise by the end of the week, we're going to sell the PS5. We haven't told her yet, but honestly, I don't think it would change anything. She's made it clear that she doesn't care about anyone but herself. Maybe we should have seen this coming. Looking back, there have been other times where she's played the victim anytime she didn't get her way. Like last year, when we had to cancel a weekend trip due to a medical emergency for my mother. Chloe was understanding. Rachel sulked for days, saying we never do anything for her. Or when we said no to a concert because we couldn't afford it, and she called us cheap and accused us of wasting money on Chloe's extracurriculars. There's always been this underlying tension. But this situation with the money just confirmed it for us. She sees things in black and white. If it's hers, it's hers. Period. Even if someone else gave to her first. That's not how family works. Now, of course, she's acting like we're the arsehole, like we stole from her, like we're monsters for even asking. Meanwhile, we're just trying to be fair to both our daughters. I'm not sure if I should sell the PS5, so I'm wondering, am I overreacting? Ada. Comments. Comment 1. YTA. I don't know how else to say it. You're not being fair. You're being punitive because Rachel didn't parent your financial decisions for you. Chloe giving $60 was her choice. not a contract. You turning around and acting like Rachel owes Chloe the same thing is wild. What really sticks out is the pattern you described without realizing it. Every example you gave about Rachel being selfish. Those weren't selfish moments. Those were you expecting her to swallow whatever inconvenience you threw at her because family. Meanwhile, Chloe gets handled like she's made of glass. Canceling a trip because of your mom's emergency. Rachel being disappointed is normal. Calling her reaction proof of a personality flaw is honestly scary. You frame every negative emotion she has as a character defect, and every negative emotion Chloe has as something you must fix. You didn't just take the PS5. You weaponized it. You used it to punish her for attitude, when the real issue was that she made a boundary you didn't like. Her money is her money. Sell the PS5 if you want. But don't pretend it's about fairness. Just admit you resent Rachel for not being the easier kid. Comment 2. YTA. And the favoritism is so obvious, I'm surprised you don't hear yourself saying it. You've essentially created two completely different rulebooks for your daughters. Chloe's contributions are framed as generosity. Rachel's savings are framed as selfishness. Chloe's disappointments are comforted. Rachel's disappointments are treated like misbehavior. Chloe gives, she's compassionate. Rachel doesn't, she's heartless. There is no version of this where Rachel wins. You also keep using family as a blanket excuse for taking from Rachel. But you've never demonstrated that Chloe would have been asked to do the same. You even basically admitted you wouldn't. And the financial situation is real, but instead of addressing it as your responsibility, you pulled a teenager into it and then punished her for not wanting to absorb the consequences. It's not Rachel's fault you bought a PS5 you couldn't afford without needing Chloe's help. It's not her fault you want to buy Chloe a laptop you can't afford either. Also, the locked room dinners, the withdrawal, the crying that isn't manipulation. That's a teenager who feels chronically unheard. You're brushing it off as sulking is concerning. If you sell the PS5, you're not just overreacting. You're confirming that Rachel's feelings and property have no weight in your home. Comment 3. YTA. Chloe gave the money voluntarily. And as you said, I wouldn't have expected something like that from her. So why the F are you expecting it from Rachel? Do you even hear yourself? Chloe does something kind once, and now suddenly you think it's some unwritten rule that Rachel owes the same, and when she doesn't comply, you steal her birthday gift and threaten to sell it. You're not teaching Rachel fairness. You're teaching her that your love is conditional and that her things aren't safe from you when you're pissed off. Here's a thought. Maybe you shouldn't have accepted Chloe's $60 at all if it was going to come with this much emotional baggage. You said it was voluntary, right? So keep it that way. Don't rewrite history just because you're broke now and need justification to raid your other daughter's savings. You're punishing Rachel for something she didn't do, and frankly, you're punishing her for setting a basic, healthy boundary. Keep this up, and she'll remember this long after that laptop stops working. Pull your head out of your damn arse. Update. It's been a few weeks since the original situation with Rachel 16F and Chloe 12F. And things have only gotten worse, not better. I don't even recognize my own house right now. First off, yes, I ended up selling the PS5. After days of complete silence from Rachel, no apologies, no discussions, just a shut door and her pretending we didn't exist, I had had enough. I contacted someone in our local buy-sell group, wiped the console, packaged it, and sold it. It felt like the cleanest solution at the time. Except it didn't work. The buyer returned it within 24 hours. Said it was account locked, even though I factory reset it. Turns out Rachel had set up a security feature tied to her email. I had no idea. When I asked her to unlock it, she looked me dead in the face and said, "Not my problem. You sold something that doesn't belong to you." I was flabbergasted. I told her to stop acting like a brat and just give me the login, and she said, "You're the one who stole from me. You don't get to demand anything." That whole exchange set off something in me. I've never heard my daughter speak like that before, not even during the worst teenage mood swings. It didn't feel like a kid asserting a boundary. It felt like a stranger who had no respect left for me. Then came the fallout. Word got around. My sister texted me, "Just tell me you didn't really sell Rachel's birthday gift." I hadn't told her anything. Turns out one of my friends from that earlier group chat posted about the whole situation in a local Facebook group. I even got 2 messages from old coworkers and a neighbor asking if everything was okay at home. The worst part, my own mother called and sided with Rachel. Said if someone had taken her gift as a kid, she'd never forgive them. Said we crossed a line. I tried explaining that Chloe gave money first. That we were trying to be fair. That Rachel could have just helped, and none of this would have happened, but nobody cared. They all said the same thing. You took birthday money from a child. That's not yours to take. Honestly, I hadn't even thought of it like that. To me, it was all part of the same pot. We're a family. But now I see how people on the outside view it. And it's been humiliating. Meanwhile, Chloe, the one we were trying to do all this for, broke down a few days ago. She said she doesn't want the laptop anymore. That she wishes she never asked. She said she just wanted something special. But not if it meant everyone hating each other. Then she asked me if she was the reason Rachel doesn't talk to us anymore. I tried to reassure her. Told her she did nothing wrong. But she just said, then why did Rachel lose everything and I didn't? And I didn't have an answer. So I told her to just stop. I snapped. I told her she didn't understand what she was saying. That she didn't realize how far this had gone. And that none of this would be happening if Rachel hadn't turned into such a selfish jerk. And then I told Rachel she needed to start looking for a job. I told her that after everything she's done, the disrespect, the embarrassment, the damage to our reputation, she could start contributing. That maybe then she'd understand how money doesn't fall from the sky and why families sometimes make decisions that aren't about one person's feelings. She laughed at me, said, "You want me to fix the mess you made? No thanks." I told her I'm not raising a threatening, manipulative little BTCH under my roof. I was furious. I know it was harsh, but I meant it. I'm not doing this with a kid who talks to her own mother like I'm nothing. And then, in the middle of all this, my husband completely blew everything to hell. He sold the PS5 behind my back. Didn't tell me. Thought it would be simpler since I was going back and forth and couldn't sell it myself. But instead of using the money for the laptop or bills or anything we'd agreed on, he used it for poker night. Lost everything. When I found out, I lost my mind. I screamed at him like I've never screamed at anyone. We're broke. Our kids are fighting. Our house is falling apart. And this man goes and gambles away the last valuable thing we had. His excuse. He wanted both girls to be happy and was going to buy me a nice gift too. He said he truly thought he could win it back. That it was supposed to fix things, not make them worse. I don't even know what to say. I cried in the bathroom for an hour after that. He apologized. Genuinely. He cried too. I forgave him because he was sincere, and because I don't have the strength to fight with him either. But now we have no PS5, no laptop money, and no way to undo any of it. We sat Chloe down and told her the truth. She cried. She still says she doesn't want the gift anymore. She doesn't want anything. She just wants us to stop fighting. I don't know how we got here. I keep looking at Rachel and wondering if she's the curse we never talk about. I don't hate her, God. I don't, but after she was born, everything in our lives started falling apart. My husband lost his job. I had to drop out of a degree I'd been working on for years. We were drowning for so long. When Chloe came along, things started to turn around. I swear, she brought the peace back into our lives. In a way, Chloe was the lucky charm we needed. Maybe that's why I've always protected her a little more. Maybe that's why this hurts so badly. I'm not saying Rachel is bad. But ever since she hit her teens, she's been saying things to our faces that I'd never imagined coming from my own kid. She doesn't care who she hurts. Chloe still hugs everyone goodnight and still says, "I love you" to both of us even when we're fighting. I don't know how to break Chloe's heart and tell her there's no laptop coming. I don't know how to fix the mess my husband made. And I sure as hell don't know how to deal with a daughter who walks around like she's the adult in the house while treating us like we're beneath her. I need advice. How do I move forward? How do I repair what's left of this family? I never thought trying to make a birthday fair would end like this. Comments. Comment 1. Holy hell, YTA. You're living in a completely different reality than the rest of your family. You've built this entire worldview where intent matters more than impact. You think as long as you meant to be fair, everything else is justified: taking gifts, draining savings, humiliating your kid in public, calling her names, punishing the other kid for trying to stop the chaos. And now you're rewriting your own family history to claim Rachel is bad luck. That is dangerously delusional parenting. Your narrative goes like this. Chloe = angel, savior, fair, lucky charm. Rachel = distant, cold, curse, problem. And every single thing they do gets filtered through that lens. You punished Chloe for trying to de-escalate. Think about that. A 12-year-old asked you to stop a fight, and you took something away from her. You are punishing the wrong child because your rage has nowhere else to go. Your husband's gambling didn't magically appear because Rachel gives bad vibes. He did it because adults make stupid decisions. So did you. You two together created this environment. And Rachel is reacting in the only way a kid can react, by withdrawing and protecting what little she owns. You didn't just break trust. You annihilated it. Stop talking about luck. Start talking about how you've turned your older daughter into the family scapegoat. Comment 2. YTA. But honestly, your husband is just as big of a problem here. You keep talking about Rachel like she's the root of all your issues. But your husband literally sold a console that wasn't his and gambled the money away. That's not a mistake. That's a massive breach of trust, and a loud signal that your household's foundation is unstable. You said he cried and apologized, and you forgave him because he didn't think he'd lose. That's the excuse of every problem gambler ever. And the more concerning part? You held him to a lower standard of accountability than you hold your children. Rachel sets a boundary. Punishment. Chloe tries to stop an argument. Punishment. Your husband blows money on gambling. He meant well. Your kids are watching that. They're seeing who gets grace and who gets consequences. They're learning what sort of behavior earns forgiveness and what earns rage. And here's the thing you don't want to face. Your marriage problems didn't start with Rachel's birth. They started with you and your husband not knowing how to deal with stress without assigning blame. You scapegoated a child because it was easier than confronting the dysfunction between you two. Rachel probably detached because she learned early that in your home, emotions aren't safe. Love isn't safe. Gifts aren't safe. Privacy isn't safe. Even her reputation isn't safe. And Chloe is shutting down because she's terrified she'll be next. Your girls are reacting to conditions you and your husband created. You need to stop treating their responses as the problem. The problem is the environment. You need therapy, not a new laptop. Comment 3. YTA. And Chloe is not the lucky charm. She's the new target. Everyone's talking about Rachel, but I want to talk about Chloe, because she is absolutely not okay. This girl watched her parents blow up her home, sell her sister's belongings, punish her for trying to stop it, and then frame it all as love and fairness. She's shutting down because she's terrified to ask for anything ever again. That isn't maturity, that's trauma. You said she asked why every bad thing is happening to her. That's a heartbreaking sentence from a 12-year-old. She's internalizing the belief that her existence causes destruction. That's how kids develop lifelong guilt complexes. And the wild part, she's not even wrong to think that in your household, everything revolves around her emotional comfort. You made her the emotional compass of the family. You praise her for being sweet and forgiving. But the moment she voices discomfort, you punish her. You're training her to smile through suffering or stay silent. Meanwhile, Rachel is cast as the permanent villain. Every family has a golden child and a scapegoat, and you've chosen who plays which part. I promise you this. If you don't stop this pattern, Chloe will either grow into an adult who is terrified of expressing needs, or she will suddenly snap one day after realizing you never truly protected her. Your daughters deserve better than being symbols in your superstition-based emotional hierarchy. You need therapy. Family therapy. Individual therapy. Marriage therapy. Something. Because this isn't about a PS5 anymore. This is a generational wound in the making. Update. I know I'm getting dragged everywhere for my posts. I can't even open my inbox without seeing people calling me abusive or insane. But these updates are the only place where I can talk honestly about what's happening without collapsing. I can't tell my mom. I can't tell my sister without getting lectured. My friends are all concerned, and I'm too ashamed to talk to anyone locally. So Reddit is all I've got, whether people are ripping me apart or not. Chloe's birthday was a disaster. We tried to make it normal. Cake, a few friends, nothing extravagant. But she spent the whole morning crying and asking if Rachel was going to come out of her room at all. Rachel didn't. She stayed locked inside and didn't say a word to anyone, not even to wish her sister a happy birthday. When we lit the candles, Chloe couldn't even smile. She blew them out fast and asked if she could go lie down. 2 hours later, she asked to go stay with my sister, just until things calmed down. I said no immediately, because the moment Chloe leaves, Rachel will act like she's won something. My sister said she could take Chloe for a bit, but she couldn't take both kids long term. She doesn't have the space. Rachel overheard this and immediately shot back. Great. I wasn't planning on staying here anyway. That's when the emancipation threat came up. She said she's saving money, that she already knows the steps, and that she can wait until she's legally allowed. And honestly, I don't think it's a bluff anymore. If she can sue her own father over a PS5 and win damages, then she can absolutely do this. And yes, he paid the damages. The judge didn't want to hear any excuses. Said the gift legally belonged to Rachel, and we violated property rights. End of story. That ruling basically destroyed whatever was left of my husband's dignity. He spiraled. He disappeared for 3 days after court. I didn't know if he was dead in a ditch or gambling his life away. When he finally came home, he confessed he'd been staying with some friend from work, gambling again, losing everything again, and that he needed space to think about life. I lost it on him. I told him he abandoned his family while everything was falling apart. He fired back that I'd been destroying the house emotionally long before he walked out. We both said things we can't take back. A massive fight broke out in the kitchen while both girls were home. Rachel came downstairs for the first time in days, stared at both of us with this look of complete exhaustion, and said, "You two are the most chaotic people I've ever met." Then she went right back upstairs. After that, my husband demanded a paternity test. I didn't even want to do it because despite everything, I always knew the timeline was messy but not wrong. Back before I got pregnant with Rachel, I did have a period in my life where I went out more, met people, and lived freely. But I always used protection. When I got pregnant, I stopped everything immediately because I wanted to grow up and take responsibility. Anyway, the test came back. Rachel is his. I thought that would calm him down, but instead it unleashed a different nightmare. Because now he wanted to know why I hesitated when he first asked. Why I looked guilty. Why I didn't fight harder against getting the test. I admitted too much during the argument that he vanished a lot back then, that I felt lonely and stupid, and that I went out sometimes before finding out I was pregnant. But I never cheated after confirming. I told him none of that changed the fact that Rachel was his daughter. He didn't care. He called me a liar. He said he couldn't trust me. Said everything from the last 17 years might be a joke. He left that night. He hasn't been back. And honestly, the marriage is done. There's nothing to save. Now I'm alone in the house with 2 daughters who are emotionally in 2 different universes. Chloe is barely talking. She asked again to stay with her aunt. Chloe doesn't understand why everything bad keeps falling on her shoulders. She cried last night, saying she ruined the family by wanting a laptop in the first place. That crushed me. I told her none of this is her fault. But she doesn't believe me. And I don't know how to make her believe anything right now. And Rachel, she's past anger. She's cold, calm, detached in a way that honestly scares me. She talks like she's already moved out. She told me last night she's saving every dollar she can, and that when she turns the age required for emancipation, she'll be out before sunrise. I tried to explain that I don't see her that way. She said, "You blame me for your bad luck." And she wasn't wrong. I did. I sound insane. But that's how it felt for so long. Like every time we tried to build something, something else collapsed. And the timing always traced back to her birth. I wasn't blaming her as a person, just the timing. But I know how awful it sounds out loud. She said she's tired of being the villain in a story she didn't write. I don't know what to do anymore. Husband is gone. Divorce is inevitable. Chloe wants to leave. Rachel is planning her exit. The house feels like a corpse with people living inside it. I'm asking for advice again because I genuinely don't know how to hold anything together now. Everyone says I pushed Rachel away, that I'm the problem. But I don't know how to fix something this shattered. I don't know how to be a single parent to 2 daughters who don't trust me. And I don't know how to break Chloe's heart more than it already is. I don't know how to fix any of this. What do I do now? Comments. Comment 1. You said it yourself, you were out, meeting people, and living freely. And when Rachel came along, that ended. So now we know exactly why you hate her. She didn't ruin your life, she forced you to stop using it like a nightclub. That's why she's the bad luck. Because she was the one thing you couldn't push aside for your own pleasure. And your husband? You tolerated a disappearing gambling addict because as long as he was AWOL, you could keep doing your thing. But now that the cheating slipped out, now that Rachel turned out to be his kid, and not your mistake, you've got nothing left to pin your bullshit on. You made your bed. You buried one daughter emotionally for 16 years, while turning the other into a guilt-trapped emotional crutch. And now you're crying about how everything is ruined. Good. You effing deserve it. You should both lose custody. You're not mentally fit to raise either of those girls. Rachel already raised herself, and Chloe's next if someone doesn't get her out of that house. This wasn't bad luck. This was neglect, abuse, and selfishness playing out for years. And now the consequences finally showed up. Comment 2. You've been abusive to Rachel for her entire life, and you're just now realizing she knows it. Let's lay this out. You always favored Chloe. You admitted it, justified it, and even called her your lucky charm. You treated Rachel like a ticking bomb, angry when she spoke, cold when she stayed quiet. You accused her of hoarding money she saved, while you stole her birthday gift and demanded her login credentials like she was your employee. You blamed her for every downturn in your life, from financial collapse to emotional breakdown. And now that a DNA test proves she's your husband's kid, you still can't admit why you hated her. Here's the real truth. You hated Rachel because deep down, part of you knew she wasn't part of your fantasy life. She was the end of your freedom, the end of your fun, the end of you pretending to be young and untouchable. She came from a time you were trying to escape, so you treated her like a burden instead of a daughter. Rachel forced you to become something you were never ready to be, a grown-up. That's why you hated her. That's why you made Chloe the princess. That's why you clung to a broken man who let you keep blaming a child for your own choices. You didn't just fail as a parent. You emotionally brutalized your kid for years and tried to convince the internet it was tough love. You don't need advice. You need therapy, and your daughters need distance, permanent, legal distance. Comment 3. YTA. At this point, it's not even YTA. It's, you've been emotionally abusing your oldest kid for 16 years. And now the bill came due. Your entire update reads like someone desperately trying to rearrange facts until you look like the victim. You don't describe events, you describe whatever version of the events makes you feel less guilty. Example. Rachel didn't skip the birthday because she's cruel. She skipped because she's traumatized and doesn't feel safe around you. Chloe didn't want to leave because she's ungrateful. She wanted to leave because the environment you and your husband created is unbearable for a 12-year-old. Your husband didn't leave because Rachel exists. He left because he's a gambling addict and a liar. And you two have been emotionally volatile long before Rachel knew what money even was. You've been painting Rachel as the family curse since she was born. Do you have any idea how insane that sounds to anyone outside your own head? You just casually said she arrived with bad luck, like she's some demonic omen instead of a child you chose to raise. This is why she's cold. This is why she's leaving. This is why she sued. Because she learned early that the truth doesn't matter in your house, only your version of the truth. You want advice? Stop asking why Rachel is ruining your life. Start asking why she's the only person in the whole story behaving like an adult. Second story. The Hoa decided my Christmas lights are too bright and fined me $500 and demanded I take them down and posted my house on a Facebook group as guidelines how not to celebrate Christmas. I want to fight, but my husband isn't. I just need to vent because I'm losing my mind over this absolute nonsense. My husband and I bought our house 2 years ago. It's in a neighborhood with an Hoa, which we knew going into it, but the rules seemed reasonable at the time. Basic stuff about lawn maintenance and not parking RVs in the driveway. This year, I decided to go all out for Christmas. I love Christmas. I put up lights on the house, some yard decorations, a big inflatable snowman, the works. Nothing crazy. I've seen way more elaborate displays. But it looks nice and festive, and it makes me happy. 2 days after I finished decorating, I got a letter from the Hoa. Apparently my Christmas display violates the seasonal decoration guidelines. Guidelines I didn't even know existed because they're not in the main Hoa rules. They're in some supplementary document that was never given to us when we bought the house. The letter says, I can only have white or clear lights, mine are multicolored. Inflatables are not permitted. Decorations cannot extend more than 3 feet from the house. The display can only be up from December 1st to January 5th. I put mine up the week before Thanksgiving. I have 48 hours to remove the non-compliant decorations, or I'll be fined $100 per day. $100 per day. I called the Hoa management company, and the woman I spoke to was so condescending. She said, these rules apply to everyone to maintain neighborhood aesthetics. I said I never received these rules, and she said, ignorance of the rules doesn't excuse violation of them. I asked to see the rule document, and she emailed me a 47-page PDF of supplementary guidelines that include insane things like wreaths can only be green or gold. No lawn ornaments visible from the street between January 6th and November 30th. Holiday decorations must be tasteful and understated. My decorations are tasteful. They're normal Christmas decorations that thousands of people have. My next-door neighbor has almost the exact same setup as me. I asked if they got a letter. They said no. So apparently the HOA is selectively enforcing this. My husband wants me to just take down the decorations to avoid the fines. But I'm so angry about this. It's Christmas. I want to have Christmas lights. This is my house that I paid for with my own money. I looked up who's on the HOA board. It's run by this woman Diane who lives 3 streets over. I've never even met her, but apparently she has nothing better to do than patrol the neighborhood looking for Christmas decoration violations. I tried to fight it. I sent an email saying I never received these supplementary guidelines and that the rule seems overly restrictive. The response was basically, rules are rules. Remove the decorations or face daily fines starting December 1st. So now I have to decide if I want to keep my Christmas decorations up and potentially owe thousands of dollars in fines or take them down and let the HOA win. My mom thinks I should just comply and avoid the stress. My best friend thinks I should leave the decorations up and fight it because the HOA is being ridiculous. My husband is stressed because he thinks if we don't comply, they'll put a lien on our house or something. I'm just so tired of this. I can't even enjoy Christmas in my own home because some woman on a power trip has decided my lights are too colorful. Comments by OP. Comment 1. That HOA can and will absolutely put a lien on the house. That's what my husband keeps saying. He's terrified they'll actually go through with the lien thing. I hate the idea of moving again. But honestly, after this, I don't know if I can deal with living under Diane's dictatorship for the next 30 years. Honestly, at this point, joining the board just to vote Diane out is tempting. I wonder how many other people in the neighborhood are sick of her nonsense too. Comply for now, but fight. Read every document pertaining to your HOA to see what the rules are about adopting supplementary guidelines. Then check the history to make sure everything was done correctly. That is, make sure these guidelines are legally binding on you. Also make sure this HOA is keeping up with everything else it is supposed to do. Document the selective enforcement too. If you think you have something, hire a lawyer to write them a letter about how they are wrong. If you don't have anything, you can still rally the neighbors for a rules change or to support you running for the board yourself. OP. This is really good advice. Thank you. I'm going to dig through all the paperwork we got at closing and see if these supplementary rules were even mentioned. The selective enforcement thing really gets me because my neighbor has the exact same setup, and they got nothing. Update. I honestly don't know if I'm looking for advice or just need to scream into the void at this point. But here we are. It's been 3 days since I posted. Things have gotten so much worse. So after I posted, the comments were pretty split. Half of you said take the decorations down and pick my battles. The other half said fight it because the HOA is being ridiculous. I was leaning towards fighting it. My husband was not. We've been arguing about this nonstop for 3 days. He wants the decorations down. I kept saying no. It's the principle of it. He said principals don't pay the mortgage when they put a lien on our house. I genuinely didn't think they'd follow through on the daily fines. I thought it was a scare tactic. It's not a scare tactic. Yesterday, I checked our mailbox, and there was a letter from the HOA. An invoice. For $500. 5 days of fines. December 1st through December 5th. $100 per day. I stared at it for like 10 minutes. My husband came home from work, and I showed him. He didn't say anything at first. Just looked at the paper. Then he said, "So what are we doing?" I said, "I don't know." He said we need to decide, because every day we wait is another $100. We got into the worst fight we've had in our entire relationship. He said I'm being irrational and stubborn. That's going to cost us thousands of dollars in Christmas lights. I said the HOA is bullying us, and if we give in now, they'll know they can push us around forever. He said, "This isn't about bullying. This is about money we don't have. We can't afford this." I knew he was right, but I was too angry to admit it. I said I'd go to the board meeting next week and fight to get the fines waived. He said the board meeting isn't until the 10th, and by then we'll owe $1,000. That's when it really hit me. We're already at $500. 4 more days until the meeting means $900 total. And what if I go to the meeting and they don't waive anything? What if they just tell me to pay up? I didn't sleep last night. I kept running the numbers. $100 a day adds up so fast. And I kept thinking about what happens if we don't pay. Can they really put a lien on our house? I Googled it at 2 a.m. Yes, they absolutely can. This morning I woke up, and my husband was already gone for work. There was a note on the kitchen counter. "I'm taking the decorations down tonight when I get home. I'm sorry. I can't watch us lose everything over this. I love you." I lost it. I called him sobbing, begged him not to touch my decorations. He said someone has to be the adult here and make the hard choice. I said it's my house too. He can't just make this decision without me. He said, then you take them down, because I'm not letting us get to $1,000 in fines. I hung up on him, sat in the kitchen crying, looking out the window at my Christmas lights. They look so pretty in the daytime, even when they're not on. The inflatable snowman looks happy, and I'm going to have to take it all down because I can't afford to keep being stubborn. But then this morning, I made a huge mistake. I went on our neighborhood Facebook group. There was a post from 2 days ago that I somehow missed. From Diane, the HOA president. A friendly reminder about holiday decoration guidelines, with a photo attached of my effing house. She posted a picture of my decorations as an example of what violates the rules. My house, my decorations, for everyone in the neighborhood to see. The comments were brutal. People are calling my decorations tacky and gaudy. Someone said I'm the reason HOAs exist. Another person said I'm bringing down everyone's property values. One comment said, thank God the board is handling this. I'm being publicly shamed on Facebook by my own neighbors. People I've never even met are trashing my house online. I screenshotted it and sent it to my husband. He called me immediately. He was furious. Not at the HOA, at me. He said, why are you looking at that? You're just making yourself more upset. This is exactly why we need to end this now. I said, did you see what they're saying about us? He said, I don't care what they're saying. I care that we owe $500 and counting. He got home from work an hour ago. Didn't say a word to me. Just went straight outside and started taking down the decorations. I'm watching him from the living room window right now as I type this. He's been out there for 45 minutes. It's cold. His hands are probably freezing. The snowman is deflated in a sad pile on the grass. He's pulling down the light strands one by one. Our house is going to look so bare. I should go help him. I know I should. But I can't make myself move. I just keep crying. I feel like I failed. Like I let the HOA win. But more than that, I feel like I've damaged my marriage over something so stupid. My husband is right. He's been right this whole time. I was too proud and stubborn to admit it. And now we owe $500, probably $600 by tomorrow. And he's out in the cold cleaning up my mess. Every other house on our street gets to have their white lights and their tasteful decorations. Our house is going to look like we hate Christmas. I don't even want to celebrate anymore. The whole thing is ruined. I still have to go to that board meeting on the 10th and beg them to reduce the fines. But I'm not hopeful. I've already proven I won't follow their rules. Why would they help me? I effing hate this. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.